All right, happy Wednesday and welcome to Coding with Jess, where you code along with me while I build a thing. So today we're going to be continuing to work on in the direction of a decentralized application framework or decentralized blogging platform that we've been calling Mumbler. And I think this is our maybe 10th session or something of working on this. So it's been a couple months now working on this each week, building this decentralized blogging platform. And so today we're going to be taking a little bit of like a left turn from working on Mumbler directly to working on another project that will actually benefit Mumbler. So let me walk you through that. But if this is your first time in like Coding with Jess or whatever I'm calling this live stream, just a real quick overview of format. I'm going to be working for the next 2 hours, talking out loud just like this while I work the whole time. And I'll be working in pomodoros. So I'll set like a 25-minute timer. I'll take a 5-minute break and I'll do 4 of those pomodoros, which ends up being about an hour of coding. And also I will be watching the YouTube chat over here. So if you want to interact, say hi or offer suggestions or whatever, feel free to drop into chat and do that. And if you go to my Twitter account, twitter.com/JessMartin, you'll see at the top, there's a link to this live stream, and there's also a link to the repository that we'll be working on today. YouTube prevents you from dropping links into the chat, so I can't drop a link into the chat with the repository we'll be working on today. So you can find it on Twitter. All right, without further ado, let's jump right in. So I mentioned today that we're going to be working on a different project. The project is called the WebNative App Template, and it is a fairly new project that we've started on at Fission. And the WebNative App Template, the purpose of it, let me see how much is in our README. I guess Brian and I haven't fully fleshed this out yet, but the idea is that this would be like a starter application for if you want to build a WebNative application, you want to use WebNative file system, you want to use UCAN, you want to use sort of like the WebNative suite of things. You could start with this as your application template and very quickly get a WebNative application up and running. So we're building in all the kind of like a batteries included application template. It'll have Svelte, or it's built on Svelte as a web framework. It will have Tailwind, Daisy UI, and it'll also have some functionality that actually does some work with WinFS, like uploading a file, showing you the file. So you can basically start from a working application that already has code in it, and then work your way to whatever application you want to build. So the other thing that's nice about this app template is it uses some new features in WebNative that I haven't yet used in Mumbler, specifically turning the authentication process over to the developer instead of forcing you to go through Fission's lobby and that kind of stuff. So my goal, the reason that we're working on this today is I want to get this WebNative app template to the point where I can adopt it for Mumbler. And then we can actually port Mumbler over to this sort of infrastructure. And then that'll allow us to remove the Fission app lobby from the current flow where you have to like go through and use Fission's infrastructure, more like an OAuth flow. So kind of the way it currently works. The application will totally own their own authentication and login using all the same WebNative facilities of web crypto, keys, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I think it's a superior flow and I'd like to adopt it. But the WebNative app template isn't ready yet. It's something I'm working on throughout the week with Brian Ginsberg from Fission, and Ryan Depatched Mode on Twitter is working on the design stuff. So yeah, I thought we'd work on it today and see if we can get this thing moving along. And then in future weeks, we'll actually migrate Mumbler over to that. All right, so there's a little taste of what we're doing today. I know that probably didn't make a ton of sense. But it'll make more sense as we dig into it. So I'm going to go ahead and start our first Pomodoro. Bingo, bango, and here we go for 25 minutes, our first Pomodoro of the day. Okay, so let me walk you through, and by the way, if you've been tuning in for a while, you'll notice that like everything's looking dark on the screen instead of light. My friend Voito made fun of me the other day and said that only old people use light mode, and therefore I must be getting old if I'm using light for all the stuff. So we're in code in dark mode today because I'm feeling young and hip. But anyway, let's jump over to Figma real quick and I'll walk you through the design of the application that we're building. So again, this is the account creation flow, and we currently have a repository that's already out there. I've already got that cloned locally. So we're sitting here in the directory right here. We have in my first tab in the terminal, I have the application running, npm run dev, and I've got the code over here on the left. And I'll even go over to Chrome and show you, let's see, there's the GitHub repository. Close that, close that. Here's the application running as it is right now. So simple connect, you can go through a process and get to this far, click some stuff, do some things. So the application doesn't have a lot of functionality right now, it has just a couple screens. So the goal today really is going to be to bang in the overall, get the overall design set up so that we have like maybe we can get to actually the breakpoints and stuff so that we have a mobile design, a desktop design, but basically mimicking this overall thing. So pretty straightforward base components here. We've got a mobile interface, a desktop interface, and all we have up here in the top left is our little a menu, hamburger menu that we can use to switch between things. We've got a connect button in the top right. And then these are the other components over here. I'll walk you through sort of the flow, which is, let's see, connected successfully. All right, so here's kind of a walkthrough of the flow that we'll be going through. So you start out on the application interface, you'll click the connect button. The connect button will then allow you to either create a new account or say, I have an existing account with this app. And again, remember, this is supposed to be a template application. So it will be a fully functioning application, but it'll be built in such a way that you can quickly adopt the application for yourself, like swap in some different names and like do some fine replaces and like make the application your own. We may even like put together some kind of generator or something at some point. But for right now, this is, you clone this application down and you as a developer can come in and customize this stuff. So you got connect to app name, which is where you would put your app name in, create a new account. I have an existing account. If you click create a new account, it'll take you to this choose a username thing. So we also have this little toggle for this is a shared computer. Currently, the way that web crypto works is it's going to store a key in cryptographic key in the whatever it's called, safe enclave or whatever, web enclave. I can't remember exactly what it's called in the browser. And so if you're using a shared browser, this is not going to work because that key is going to be embedded and non-transferable. What's up, man? I see Brent Anderson's joining and Million Grad. Glad you guys are joining and hanging out. And yeah, so we have a little like toggle here to like let you know like you're not going to want to use a shared computer. And I think we made this next screen. Yeah, we have up above, we have like the copy that we're showing there. But let's assume that you just choose a username. Whoops, I meant to scroll sideways, not zoom in. Then it will check and make sure that the username is valid and available. So right now there's some limitations on username availability, and we've got some of those limitations we're going to be able to relax over time. But right now it's going to go check the Vision servers to make sure that the namespace is available for that particular username. Vision is sort of managing the overall delegation of down to sort of these WebNative file systems that are wrapping IPFS resources. If those words don't mean anything to you, don't worry. Go back and watch one of the previous live streams where I dig in on that. I'm not going to explain all that right now. But so the next thing you'll get is the username's available. You'll click register, and then you'll get this account registration success screen. So there's some other screens that are in here, some really neat stuff around like connecting a second device to be able to get your key off of your primary device and onto a secondary device. This is absolutely critical when you're using password-less authentication of key-based auth. And so I'm not going to go through all those screens right now. They're all in here. But I'm instead, since we're like focused on getting some stuff done, I'm going to focus on these first maybe 5 screens that we see here and see if we can get these styled up. And that will sort of lay the groundwork for all the styles that we're going to put in the application over time. So let's jump in and see how we might make that happen. Okay, so we've got over here on the right our application. It's got the connect button and a hello world. If you've used Svelte before, Svelte is pretty well organized in terms of like laying things out. So there's a, inside our source directory, there is a components, a routes directory first. We'll talk about that one first. And at the top level, there's an index route. So this is like the top level of the entire application. And inside that, you can see we've got hello world. Let's make this a little smaller over here. So I can easily change this, hello worlds, save it, and you see it update on the right. So this is our top level route. And then inside of index.svelte, index is the top level page. There's a layout is actually above that. So the layout is outside of index.svelte, and it allows you to put in place things like a header, which we currently have, and that's up, I believe, up here in components. It is. I'm just gonna say like app name or something so that you can see this header in action. So header.svelte is inside our layout up here at the top, and then this slot right here is where inside the layout it embeds whatever page you're currently on. So like I mentioned, index is the default one since we're here at the root slash. We are on the home page, or the index route within this layout. And then there are two other pages too, /connect and /register. So when I click connect, you'll notice that the URL changes to connect here, and we're now inside this connect component. And that is analogous to this screen. Create a new account. I have an existing account. And so this component, or sorry, this route. So there's a difference between routes and components in Svelte. This route loads, or sorry, this page route, same thing, I guess, has a component called connect. That connect component comes from components auth connect. If I go in there, you'll see I have this connect component. That's this right here, where you're seeing on the left and the right, connect and register. This is a standard link to /register. If I click that, then I get to the next page, which is analogous to this page. Choose a username. This is a shared computer, back register. Cool. So if we focus on sort of getting the high level layout of the application styled up correctly and getting these first three screens, that'll take us a long way. So we'll get the header into the right place where it's fixed up at the top, that connect button in the top right hand corner. We can even go from there. We can decide once we have these first three styled up if we want to actually do a mobile style today and work on like the breakpoint levels, or whether we want to keep going to go deeper into the application. But there's enough here that we'll definitely, it'll definitely take us some time today to get through it. Okay, so how does styling work in Svelte, Tailwind, and Daisy UI? So those are sort of three separate questions. In Svelte alone, you could sort of co-locate your styles with the application, or sorry, with the page and component, and Svelte handles all of that really nicely. Tailwind gives you a sequence of, or a series of utility classes that are really nice set of utilities that allows you to apply styles using basically CSS classes. So you, instead of manually coming in and writing styles in this style block as you would in sort of vanilla Svelte, you come in and apply styles here, and you get, let me give an example. Let's see, we could do like a size, I think, text XL, and then over here, go back to our home page where Hello World is, and Hello Worlds is now bigger. It's now an extra large size. And so you just apply these classes, and these all come from Tailwind. You'll notice that I had really nice autocomplete here when I was typing these in. So I have a Tailwind plugin that allows me to have autocomplete based on all the styles that are available. Tailwind has a really nice set of styles that we'll take advantage of, and that an application author who's working with the WebNative app template will also have access to. But then there's Daisy UI that's built on top of Tailwind. And what Daisy UI provides are some higher level components that are sort of, that leverage Tailwind, that that leverage Tailwind's CSS classes. So it kind of wraps these Tailwind utility classes into things that we would more commonly identify as components on the screen. Whereas if you're working with Tailwind alone, you're going to have to manually specify all the things about your components and kind of build up from scratch. And so this is even Daisy UI is an even more sort of batteries included way of styling up your thing, which is exactly what we're going for with this application. We want there to be as much stuff already there for you as possible to like quickly build an application using WebNative. All right, so let's start with the overall layout of the page. Right now we've got like no layout whatsoever, and we need to head towards this application interface. So the first thing you'll notice is that there's a fixed header at the top that's full width and the connect button, and there's a connect button that's pushed all the way to the right. So in Tailwind, and this is actually the header piece is one of the things that I'm not sure whether that will live in Tailwind or Daisy. I'm going to look in Daisy first and see what they have around sort of nav bars and header type things. Menus maybe? No, menus are these like sub things. Okay. Nav bar. This looks familiar. Nav bar start, center, and end. You can have nav bar children. Yeah, this looks like the thing we're creating is a nav bar. Now notice that all of these nav bars have sort of a wrapper around them. Let's go ahead and throw nav bar on our header and see what happens here. Let's see. We've already got our header class equals nav bar. And okay, that kind of gave some spacing to it. Maybe where are we currently getting this dark background? Let's see. It's not in app HTML. I know we have some stuff in here for dark mode, light mode, but I don't think that is currently being obeyed. So I'm not sure why we have a black background. Well, let me see. Is it possible to inspect this, see where the style's coming from? Body. Huh. Computed background color. There it is. Root data theme. Okay, maybe that's coming from app HTML then. I was wondering if one of these, like I said, there's something here that we haven't yet implemented around making a theme. Oh, I know where it is. Jeez. Tailwind config. Duh. Here we go. We've got dark, we've got light. Dark theme is here, dark. So this is in Daisy UI themes. These are the default styles. So this is, again, in Tailwind config CJS, you'll have the opportunity to override Tailwind with a Daisy UI theme. And then this is a really easy way to set sort of high-level default styles for the colors and background and all that kind of stuff of your application. Now, it seems like dark mode is getting selected automatically here. Dark theme. I'm not sure why that is. Styled true. It'd be easier to work in light mode just because all of our Figma mockups are also in light mode. So I'm trying to see how we might disable that or swap it out for light mode. Again, we haven't enabled detection, I don't think. Let's see, writable load theme, where's that coming from? Export type theme, light, dark, load storage, get item theme. Aha. I think I can just swap this for light. Oh, you know what? I think this local storage stuff already exists. So let's go. We might be able to just manually uh, manually move it over uh, to dark mode. Let's see. So this stores in local storage. That would, where can I get access to that? Not application. Yeah, there it is. Application, local storage, theme. Aha, light. Oh, come on. Here we go. Cool. Now I got it. And strangely enough, it does not extend all the way down. We must have something to do with our height here. Okay, great. So we are now in light mode, which is one step that we need to take here. But let's go back to our Tailwind config. I wonder if there's a background color that's being applied even in light mode. Base content, base 100 is this, primary, secondary. These are the primary, secondary. These are the accent colors, accent, neutral, base content. I think that's the base text color. Not sure what base 100 is. All right, well, we'll keep moving here. So then we could give this a background base 100. I'm wondering why all of this chrome exists around this navbar element. Kind of strange to me that it's there. Let's see. But I think if we use the same, maybe this will give us a little bit more visibility into it. Yes, yes, sorry, extra quote. And again, it doesn't matter whether it's a header or a div, because div is just a semantic, or a header is just a semantic div. Yeah, okay. Go back to header here. Cool, and then yeah, I'm still not exactly sure why all that stuff is there, but let's do make this into a button. All right, we're not gonna want button ghost. We're gonna want button primary, and not gonna be text extra large. Let's see, go back over to Tailwind here, and aha, there we go. There's our little button square thing. Let's do that. So now we got our hamburger, and right, let me go ahead and set the size to 100% so that we can be working off the same rough size as this. So we'll want to make that a little bit bigger in a second. Does one make that bigger? Button ghost. I bet it's the view box. Let's see. How big is the view box over here in Figma? These are menu 40. That's like the width there. So let's make that 40, 40. Oh, weird. Did you see that get smaller? That's wild. So the class inline block, stroke current, all that stuff looks fine. Stroke width is fine. I thought okay. This must be some sort of transform as opposed to a specifically like top left. Top right, bottom left. All right. Well, we'll leave that for now. I'm not sure what button ghost is. We're getting this default hover behavior, which I don't love either. Normal case. Also, we're going to want to change up our primary colors so that they match the primary color in Figma. So let's go do that. All right, there's our blue. Let me see. I think I have SIP on here. Yeah. I mean, I guess I could do this. And connect button. Oh, of course, blue 500. Yes, that will mean nothing inside of our thing. Come on, Figma. That's okay. We'll just sip it. Sip's a pretty cool little app. Boop. And that'll allow us to go over to Tailwind config and set our primary in light mode to that. There we go. Now we have a blue connect button. What else? Right now it needs better rounded corners. So let's see. Does he have a rounded corner specification? 8. There we go. Rounded box, rounded button can be 8 pixels. Boom. Awesome. We'll go ahead and set that up here as well. Rounded button, 8 pixels. And I'm not sure why there's just so much padding here. Button primary. Maybe Tailwind, or maybe Daisy has a way to turn down sort of the padding around buttons. Button with medium button is the default. Okay. So the fact that we're using BTN here means that we are getting a medium button, I think. Let me just confirm that. Yeah. And if I say button large, it gets bigger. Cool. And I guess I could do a button small, but I think that's pretty close right there. Still needs a little more top margin, top and bottom padding. And maybe small is the right thing to do here. The other thing we can do from, tell you what, we'll leave it as button small for now. I like providing as few different sizes as possible. So there's the ghost, I guess. Interesting. Okay. Responsive, wide. Let's go back one. Oh, nice. This thing has loaders too. We're going to need to use a loader when checking the usernames. That's pretty helpful. Let's see. Navbar. Here we go. Navbar had a push element over to the right thing. Let's go steal that too. So like there's one. It's pushed over to the right. Oh, interesting. It's using flex. Wait. Okay, it's this little toggle thingy. Square buttons. Yeah, I think it's the second one. So if we throw a div around it and div class equals flex none, this is not inspiring confidence. Oh, look at that autocomplete that Copilot recommended. All right, this is an A button. Button square. All right. So let's see. Did that get what we want? No, I didn't think so. Okay. All right. Well, we've been going at it for 25 minutes now. We will take a quick 5-minute break, and I'll be back in 5, and we'll continue styling up the app template. So talk to you guys in just a second. Starting the break now. Alrighty, welcome back to Coding with Jess. We're about to start on our second Pomodoro. If you're just tuning in just now, we are working on WebNative App Template, which is a app template for WebNative applications that allow you to very quickly build a decentralized application on top of the WebNative library. And we are in the middle of styling that up using Tailwind CSS and Daisy UI. So about to start off our second Pomodoro of 4 Pomodoros. So we're 30 minutes into this live streaming session and we have about an hour and a half left. So feel free to hang out. Here we go. Start tomato. All right, so far we've got we're working on our nav bar up here, and I was looking to see why this button over here is actually pushed right. Oh, I think you have to flex one the first thing too. Flex one, the first thing, and then flex down the second thing. Hi, we are correcto. Sweet. All right, and then I think I also want to make this a button small to match the padding and sizing on the other one. Cool. There's still some issues with the padding, the top padding and top margin on this layout. I really want to, I think so much of design is actually about composition and padding. And like really simple like design hack that you can notice to like make things look better is like space things evenly from the edges is like a great like general principle. So if you look right over here, we've got about it's about 10 pixels or so of space between the edge of that button and the edge of the screen, and we have about 20 pixels between the edge, the top of the button and the top of the screen. So we're going to want to like make that consistent. If you look at his, yeah, of course for Ryan it's like perfectly consistent, right? Exactly the same spacing between the edges. So we want to like try to mirror that as much as possible. I'm going to keep going and we're going to kind of like work kind of sketchy style, trying to like rough in the design, get everything kind of laid out, and then we'll go in and really focus on sort of those pixel perfect tweaks. And what we're going to be looking for is ways to do that using Daisy UI's overall config variables that basically set the padding across the entire design. So once we get it all roughed in, hopefully we'll be able to like modify some of these radiuses and configs and paddings and that kind of stuff, and everything will just sort of click into a grid where you'll see like consistent spacing around all the items. That's the hope anyway. We'll see if it actually works out that way. All right, so we now have our nav bar. Was there anything else on the next nav bar screen? Okay, cool. So this, what we need to do first before we can move on to the next screen is get this full width, like white background in here. And right now we do not have that. For whatever reason, background is getting defaulted to black, which even though we're in light mode I don't know where that's coming from. If you do an inspect down here, it takes us back to HTML, the HTML element. For some reason, that's getting computed as black. var is TWBG opacity. Tailwind background opacity. Interesting. So maybe there's some tailwind or something. Or it could be, okay, I'm going to do this swap to light mode real quick. Nope, that's not it. And back to dark. Huh. Yeah, something about this default HTML thing. But in any case, we need to, or do we need it to be full width, full height? Let's see. So the way that we would handle this is the top level thing in a Tailwind, or sorry, in a Svelte application is app HTML. And so in the app HTML, you can see our head. All the stuff is defined up here in the head. There's the body, and then there's your div where the SvelteKit.body, SvelteKit is inserting all of the body content in here. And for whatever reason, the HTML, that should be, no, it shouldn't be indented. Well, actually, all of this should be indented, technically. I'm going to clean up some of the spacing in this file just because, there we go. That'll be a annoying diff in the commit of like fixing indentation, but that looks better to my eye. So body and the div here, do we want this div to actually be full height? Yeah, ideally I'd just like the background to be white, the default HTML to be white, and then not have to mess with full height items. Let's see. Let's give a few more minutes. I'll tell you what, we'll time box this for like 3 minutes here. Don't want to spend too much time on it, and there are ways to do full height. Let's see if we can figure out a way to override this style here for HTML, where it's saying that the the background color for the root is this thing. So let me see, Tailwind, root. Okay, here's the configuration. Aha, see, there's some of the spacing stuff that we're going to get to use, hopefully to like make everything line up. Body ID equals app. No. Okay, here's all a bunch of stuff you can define. I think these are like the top level, every core plugin. Oh, interesting. So all these things are implemented as plugins. Huh. And if I go over here, right now the only plugin we're requiring is Daisy UI, which appears to be overriding like just about everything, but it's not handling the top level. I wonder if there's something about top level up here. Here's your config. Well, drag this over. It'll be a little bit easier to navigate this, so I don't have to keep opening and closing the drawers here. So customizing components, that's if I want to like dive down and customize an individual Daisy UI component. All right. Install Daisy UI. Here's config, colors, themes, layout, typography. So here's the container piece. Huh. All right, we're about at our 2 minutes of like jumping into this. Cool. The nice thing is, in like diving through these Tailwind docs, we are definitely going to be able to customize the top level things that will allow us to work our way down to the right spacing for all the elements without manually customizing it on a per element basis, which is so much nicer. Center containers by default, adding horizontal padding. Interesting. Yeah, y'all, I don't know. This is weird that it's not allowing me to do it. Tell you what, since I wonder if this even supports, why did it jump out of there? Min height full. So the min height is now 100%. Oh, because it's being contained by the HTML. That's really weird. Let's see, full height, div, tailwind. H full. %, of its parent. So the HTML element is still going to need a to be set to 100% height, or this isn't going to work. Interesting. Class H full. Yeah, I mean, this is not Weird. Let me go back here. Gotta fill the height of the viewport with tailwind. That's exactly what we want to do. There's a tailwind class called hScreen. And where would you apply that? At the body level or the div? Maybe the containing div class. I'm really just poking at things now. There we go. hScreen. Is hScreen even a thing? That was from 2017. Yeah. Under vertical height. Define height of HTML element. I've never seen this problem before. It's really weird. I wonder, let's see if there's a other computed. Let's see. So if you switch over to the computed tag here, we should be able to see the height as it's getting defined. Yeah, it's just letting the content is defining the height here, right? So 345 pixels is based on the content that's in here. I am very surprised here. BG white. All right, well, we'll go with that. That's not gonna work, by the way, when we go to dark mode. So we're gonna have to figure out how to solve this problem. Okay, well, here we are. So we're now have the connect screen, full height, white. It is mostly matching this. We'll take the hello worlds out eventually, but this is just, I guess I could, why not? We could change that hello worlds to, it's an index, I believe, .svelte. Yep, there it is. We can change that to, say, application interface, and we can center, text center. Is there a way to, I doubt there'll be a way to vertically center it, or horizontally center it, because that's the exact same problem we just had. All right, that's good enough for now. I'm not going to mess with this weird height problem we're having. Moving on, so we click connect, and now we are on this next screen right here, which is, so we're going to want to use a, we're going to want to use a modal and center it and get all these like nice little drop shadows and that we have here. So right now, this is the connect screen. So let me pull that up. The connect page is under routes here. There's a connect component that we have in source components auth. And you'll notice that it has the text and a link in it, but we're going to want to add a little bit more. So this div, let's see, there are modals in Daisy UI. So let's jump into that and see how we might grab one. There it is. And I think we already have this on the register component. Yeah, I'm going to just steal this code right here, which is a modal from register. And instead of choose a username, we'll have, what's the text say at the top? Connect to app name. Connect to app name, and then our buttons say create a new account and I have an existing account. We've got two of them. Don't need that input. Create a new account. I have, was it lowercase? I think it was. Lowercase in both cases. Ryan actually thinks about copy when he's working on it, so we'll go with his copy suggestions. Create a new account. I have an existing account. These will technically both be links, so we can make that a class button, and this is going to be the second, or I think it's button outline or something like that. Yeah, button outline. This button's going to be button primary, and right now this goes nowhere. Why does it tell me account is misspelled? Attempting to close. Oh, right. Thanks, VS Code. Sorry about that. All right, now over here. Okay, cool. So now we've got our connect and register buttons, which are wrong. This should be a chain. This should link to register, which links us forward. Let me close that. Get that out of there. Okay, cool. So we need to do a couple things. One, we want our modals to be more centered on the screen like that, not quite as wide. So let's see. Width, I don't know, 11. Width. What are the different options here? A third, maybe? Oh, weird. Did not let me. Oh, that's the. Silly. This is the modal toggle. We actually want the modal div here. Whoa. That's not what we want either. Oh, I see it. Okay. It's currently set to 11 out of 12. So we'll set that to like 3 or like 1/4 maybe. Now, here's where things get interesting. It's when you resize this, we're going to want it to like pull in and not get too small. So maybe an explicit width is actually the right thing to do here, which would be something along the lines of like width. What does 96 look like? That's not bad. Let's do the one size under 96, whatever that was. 80. The max width is 5XL. It's weird. I don't think we want that. We're now setting the width manually anyway, so max width doesn't really make sense. It's not going to scale up or down. All right, so we got connect to app name. Let's see. So we need to get some spacing in here. What else we got going on? Center the text at the top. Oh, we need to switch fonts. What's he using here? This is PT Serif. Okay, so we're gonna want to bring in a serif font for our headers and kind of set that at the top level config for not Tailwind, Daisy. In the like theme config for Daisy, we'll set the font. We'll probably need to bring this PT Serif in, I'm guessing from like Google Fonts or some font source. But we'll go look for that in a second. Let's go ahead and get it centered and get it set to approximately the right size, and then we'll need a close button in the top right as well. I think we can grab one of those from Daisy UI's modal examples. Modal using anchor link. Here we go. Modal with a close button in the top corner. Great. All right, so then there's the close button. That needs to go inside the div. Interesting. So this goes right there. And it looks like there's a relative position on this top thing. so that you can use the absolute positioning on this thing here. Let's see if that gives us what we want. Nice. Oh, you know what is interesting here is closing this out. This is like a backlink. Huh. So this isn't really what you would... Okay. So the way that we've implemented this right now is you actually go through the application using URLs. So even though it works effectively like a wizard with multiple steps, you still advance through the wizard using URLs. So back, create a new account. And then, so this will actually be an href, not a label. One of the things that's quite clever about the modal dialog is the modal's state is stored in this checkbox in the DOM, which is pretty cool if you think about it. Like, rather than having state be carried around anywhere else, they're using the browser itself and a hidden checkbox as the thing that controls the modal. So watch this. If I remove the checked attribute, hit save, modal goes away. Bring the checked attribute back. Boom, there it is, which is pretty neat. And so then the way these labels work, like this one right here, is it toggles the let's see, we need to make it match up. My modal 5. It toggles the checked attribute of that modal, which then removes it. Pretty clever. Maybe people have been doing it that way for a while. I've never thought about doing it that way. I've always managed state of my modals a little bit differently. Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. All right, so this is not going to be a label. It's actually going to be an href that's going to go back to home, and it's going to have the following classes. So we can do it that way. Should have the same exact classes basically, and I think it will work the same way. All right, so now, yep, now that I've saved it, that takes me back, that takes me forward. Nice. And then I can go to the next screen. We'll have to style that one up in a second, but yeah, it's starting to look okay. Let's see if what we want to do to that X button to make it, looks like it's a little smaller. Is there like an extra small? There is. Awesome. That's pretty close, actually. Dang. Now there's, oh, we also talked about our modal needing to have rounded corners that match. That feels like something we can probably configure in at the level of the top level. Do I get autocomplete here? Rounded modal. I'm totally guessing. This is the dark theme though. We need the light theme. Doggone it. Rounded modal, not the thing. Let's see. Is there on the Daisy UI, or would it be on the Tailwind UI? Modal box. Modal button. Modal bottom, modal middle. I wonder if the theme generator would be helpful here. I wonder if we could go to, whoops, theme generator. Huh, I don't see modals here. Y'all see them? Interesting. I would have expected there to be a modal thing here, and I was just wondering if we could like interactively play with the different configurations and see if that helped. But not seeing modals in their little theme generator here. Let's see. So maybe it's at the Tailwind level. Search for a modal here. These are all the plugins. Huh. All right. Well then, not finding it in the docs. Let's just inspect the thing and see how this thing is built. And maybe that'll give us a clue as to how to override it to get the appropriate rounded corners here. So the modal itself, it's the modal box that we need to change the rounded corners on. Let's see. Padding, transition, blah, 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 blah. Border top left. There's our border radiuses. And they come from rounded box. Okay, perfect. So then there we just change that to 8. Assuming 8 was the right number. Oh, our pomodoro is ended. Let's go get the right rounding corner. Whoa, it's 32 pixels. Is that right? All right, well, hopefully rounded box isn't used in some places where a 32 pixel rounded corner would be a problem. That doesn't look right to me. It's 16. I was looking at the padding. Duh. Okay, great. Yeah, 32 did not sound right. There we go. And then I'll change rounded box in the dark mode as well. Cool. All right. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and we have now completed 2 of our 4 Pomodoros for coding with Jess. So thanks for hanging out. We've got 1 more hour of coding on the WebNative app template where we're going to be styling it up using Tailwind and Daisy UI. I'm going to take a 5-minute Pomodoro. So see you guys in 5. What's up, folks? Welcome back to Coding with Jess. We are now 2 Pomodoros into our 4 Pomodoro coding sessions. We've got one more hour, 1 hour behind us, 1 hour ahead of us on this work session, and we are digging into an application called WebNative App Template, which is a app template for WebNative. And we're styling this thing up using Daisy UI, Tailwind, and all inside of a fancy little Svelte application. So without further ado, let's jump right back in where we were styling things up, start our next Pomodoro, and 25 minutes on the clock. Let's go. All right, so connect. Right now we've got our application, just to kind of go back from the beginning. Starts out here. We can click the connect button in the top right. We can click create a new account. It takes you to this, and we're styling up all these modals and this sort of path through things. I can go through back, like this. So we're in the middle of getting the spacing right on this modal and some of the high level things. We've got a Figma mockup over here that has the modal that we want and the desired output. And so let's see if we can get things laid out appropriately, knowing that we've got several other modals that we'll have to work through as the user goes through this. So, all right, connect to app name. Everything's looking good here. Let's go ahead and get things centered. I think I think we can just center everything here. There we go. Cool. That gave us centering. What else do we want to do? Oh, interesting. So the border button is giving us black when what we want is really blue, a blue border. Let's see, how are buttons defined in Daisy UI? So right now there are all these different styles. Outline buttons themselves are defined this way. Okay, gotcha. So we want button outline, but we also want to slap button primary on it to get that nice blue. So we'll do button primary, button outline, and that should give us, nice, got what we want. All right, now we need to get the spacing right in here. And one thing we don't want to do is sort of manually pad the bottoms of these things. I mean, we could do that. So I could do padding bottom 10. Okay, or I could try like margin bottom 10, because like that's what I'm actually talking about. Silly. So I could like manually come in and pad all these things, margin bottom 5, and maybe that's okay. We know that these modals are going to have to shrink and contract and like shrink and expand and all that kind of stuff to make room for additional content as we go throughout this UI. So maybe it's fine that that we just add margin. I don't know. Let me go back. Let's go look at the Figma and see. Looks like he's got, interesting. Oh, one of the things he's doing is, it's really nice, is setting the width on these buttons to be full width. The other thing we're going to want to do is casing, case normal. Case. I swear I thought there was like a case normal that allowed me to. We want to get rid of this uppercasing thing. Maybe we can do that at the theme level as well. So let's see. I wish I could see all the theme variables in one place. Like, is this all the theme variables? Are these plugins? Let's see. Just want to see all the themes. Customizing the default theme. That's exactly what I want to see, but I want to see all of them. I guess this is them. Yeah, value for these properties. Okay, so the properties on the right over here. So then what is that called? Uppercase, which is a transform, text transform. Is that what that is? Text transform. Yeah. So we actually want to set text transform to none. Let's see, how would I set that at the theme level? Yeah, normal case. What? So it is a thing. But we actually want to do it at the theme level. And I didn't see it on the list of things. Normal case. Let's just see if that worked. Total guess. Did not. Okay, so what's weird is that's not one of the things that's listed here. So maybe you can't modify the text transform. Extending the default theme. Overwriting the default theme. I just want to see all of the things. Give me all the configs in one place. Am I asking? I don't feel like I'm asking too much here. Like, it should be, everything should be in one place for me, so that I can see how to override and define this. So these are all of our, this is not what we want, because this is all of our modals. Sorry, not modals. Those are all the components that are available in Daisy UI. What I really want is the thing in Tailwind. All right, back to Google's Tailwind CSS text transform theme. Yeah, I know what it does. I want to know how to override it at the, I'm not sure what that page is even about. React Native. Ugh. I'm sure I'm missing something really simple here. Yeah, see, here's the kind of thing I want to be able to do. Themes, dark, light, text transform. Oh, but I wonder if it's like in specific places you want different kinds of text transform. That kind of makes sense that you wouldn't be setting it everywhere. Let's see if I can find it in here. Uh, uh, boop, 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 boop. There it is. Button text case. Maybe that's, maybe I, oh, that would be awesome if that just, yes, awesome. Okay, cool. So then we can just use inspect, which is so much better than trying to browse these docs. As wonderful as those docs are, they're kind of a pain. If the text is typed in all caps, text transform does nothing. Yeah, Matthew, yeah, exactly. Yes. Oh, if the text is typed in as all caps, yeah. Fortunately, the text is not typed in all caps, so it's over here in register or in connect, not as all caps. But I was looking for the way to these. I want a consistent way to override these themes. Oh, by the way, this is going to get super annoying. We have a dark and a light theme, and a lot of the stuff is going to be shared between the dark and the light theme, like a lot. So we probably need, there's got to be some way to like inherit from a like base theme, and we'll look that up in a minute. But right now I'm just focused on this dark theme, or sorry, I'm focused on the light theme. Cool, so we have that working. It looks like also in his Figma, it's not, this is the weight on those buttons is not bold. So again, now using our fancy new technique, I can come in and use the inspector, come down here to button, find where the weight is being defined. Oh, font weight. Did I? Oh, is it manually being defined like right there? No? All right. So where's that font weight coming from then? Magic, I guess. Oh, it's coming from Daisy UI. Right. So Daisy UI, the default button, has a 600 font weight. And how do we customize that? So then let's see, theme generator was one of the things I was looking at and playing with. These are just colors. So am I kind of stuck with Daisy UI's theme? You know what, we're gonna leave that one alone, but I have an open question of like, how do I override the Daisy UI theme? Because that's where that font weight's coming from. It's not coming from like a Tailwind variable. Things that are coming from Tailwind variables we can override. Well, maybe these are not Tailwind variables, but whatever. We can override using these CSS variables here, and that'll override it all the way across the theme. For right now, let's leave the font weight alone, and let's get this top thing here. So this guy's going to be 20 pixel font PT serif. All right, where do we get PT serif from? PT serif, font squirrel. You know what? I'm going to ask Ryan how he would like me to load PT serif before I assume that we're going to like download it locally. Maybe his choice of PT serif was somewhat arbitrary. How would you like us to load PT serif? Should I download the font and host it in the repo? All right, I'm gonna let him get back to us on that. Let's go ahead and get the font size set correctly. So let's see. Right now, this is an H3, and that's giving me a, what size? 16 pixels? What if we make it like an H? Oh, that's right. You don't get default sizes. Kind of surprised about that. So how does, one of the things I didn't look at was how does Daisy UI do typography? They give you headings. Are we not using Tailwind's typography? Oh, that's right. You got to wrap it in class equals prose to get Tailwind's typography thing. Ah, goodness. I'm not sure. So I've used Tailwind's typography plugin really well. One of the places it works really, really well is when you're converting HTML to, when you're converting Markdown to HTML and you want to just wrap a whole block and say, take this block of HTML and style it using sensible defaults for like H1, H2, H3, ULs, LIs, paragraph tags, all that kind of stuff. Works really well in that case. But in some ways, typography goes too far. It like, I mean, we could try just wrapping this in class equals article. I think we have the typography package here. Yep, we do. So we have it right there. And I could just wrap it in article and see what happens. Or sorry, prose. Yeah. But this isn't really prose, and this really isn't what the what it was designed for. Yeah, this just doesn't feel right. Like, we should probably just set the size here on this H3. And semantically, I'm not sure if it should be an H3 or not, but whatevers. No, Matt, I definitely appreciate your help on. I've definitely made that mistake before of when I've had text typed into all caps and then tried to transform it, which does absolutely nothing. So I think I discovered the key thing that I needed to know about overriding these setting the variables at the theme level is something that I can look up via the inspector because the variables are there in the computed CSS, which is just really handy. And I was really having a hard time finding a consistent source for those in the Daisy UI and Tailwind docs. All right, so this, we're just going to want to say, hey, buddy, I'm busy right now. You'll have to come back.
See what I
No,
wrote on the whiteboard?
You'll have to come back later, okay?
Want to see what I wrote on the whiteboard?
I see it. Hazards of working from home. By the way, he really wanted me to see Streamlabs. Yeah. He really wanted to see what I wrote on the whiteboard, so apparently he snuck in a few minutes ago and wrote that on the whiteboard behind me. Yep, that's what happens when you work from home. It's actually quite delightful. I don't mind it at all. Okay, so text extra large. Let's see what size that gives us. It gives us 20 pixels. We'll bump it up one more. XL1 or 2XL. And that might be too big. It looks too big, but it's 24 pixels. Interesting. Maybe it'll look right once we have the right font. But yeah, if you go over to Figma, that is, oh, it was 20. Man, I am misremembering. All right, bump it back down to XL. That looks good. Once I hear back from Ryan, we'll figure out all right, yeah, he says hosted in the repo. Is it free? Can I download somewhere? All right, so we'll have that font shortly. This looks pretty good. Oh, right. One of the things we're going to work on was the width, getting consistent width of the of these buttons. Yeah, my son's name is Wells, and he is hilarious. And a lot of fun. All right, how do I get these guys to size up appropriately? All right, so we're gonna want to do like width full or something like that. Yeah, there we go. Width full, or maybe not full, but so we're setting the size of the modal manually. Let me go, let's go see how he did it. They're not quite full width. Maybe 11/12s will work. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Spacing is not perfect, but oh man. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's grab the PT font and get that inserted. Looks like we can grab it from Adobe Fonts and we'll install it locally. I always forget how these things work. I always have to Google how this works. So let's see. We're going to add this to a web project. No, I don't want to do that. How about Google Fonts? Do they have it? Yeah. All right. So how does I download this? Open font license. You can use them in your projects. I want to actually host this thing locally and not come on. How do I get the thing? Do I have to click into this? Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. You build like a yes. Okay. So I say what styles I want. It like adds them to a cart-like experience, and then I click download. Looks like PT Sans. Let's go back over to the Figma real quick and scroll around. He's using, I think he's only using it in the headers. kind of looks like that. Sorry if this is like making you nauseous by how quickly I'm panning around in here. Yeah, I think we'll only need the 400 weight. In other words, the non-bold, non-italic, normal font. That's nice because that'll keep the download size down as well. Whoops. One thing I didn't check was the other font that's being used here. We can look at that in a second. Zoom this to 100%. Back over to our modal that we were working on, and we will grab the 400 weight version of this, regular 400. Come up here to the top right, click download all. All right, and this is where it always confuses me of like, I'm gonna get a whole bunch of font files. Oh, it went ahead and gave me the italic, bold, and bold italic. Interesting. Okay, cool. So I just have a regular TTF file. So I guess that's the one I need. 279 kilobytes. Yeah, well, life's hard when you have great fonts. WebNative app template. I think we can just drop this into the static directory of a Svelte file, and it will get hosted automatically. And then these are the style or the embed code if I wanted to embed it linking from Google Fonts, but we don't want to do that. We want to pull it in locally. So load font HTML. Oh goodness, you would think I have to look this up every single time. It's like something you like set one time. So it's at font face is the thing. Source URL. Oh, WebB3 schools. Custom font. Let's see if Tailwind has anything crazy that they want to say about this. Font family. How to use custom fonts in Tailwind. Yeah, let's read through this real quick. This should take us down the right path, hopefully. All right, let's see. Yes, so we want to, so there's a link here, but I don't really, it's not what that must be specifying the at font family, which then specifies the source. So I don't really want to do that. Huh. Adding the local font to Tailwind. There we go. Yep, there's the at font face. Okay, cool. So, oh, we just define it in globals. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So we'll do this, and then we'll call this PT Sans. Was that what the name of the font was? My memory has not been so hot today, so let's see if I remembered it correctly. PT Serif. Of course, the serif font. Goof. And then this URL should be PT Serif regular. And I think that would be hosted by the source directory. So then now over in extend font family. So now in our Tailwind config, I wonder if This should probably change everything, which is not what I want. But just curious if that's the, yep, that is the way. Cool, so then we don't want to do that. We want to do just heading fonts. So I'm going to jump in here and hopefully there will be a style that allows me to set the font heading. This is an H3. So looking for font weight, inherit. All right, we have hit the end of our pomodoro here. Let's see. Let's just keep looking through this for just a second, and I'll take my last pomodoro break here in just a minute. Where is it? So if I go to computed, I get font family PT serif. Oh, can I just do a drop down there? Oh, nice. No, that doesn't give me exactly what I want. Data theme, light, style. Oh, can I filter? That's cool. Family. Interesting, it even has the data theme right up here at the top, which is cool. Huh. Okay, well, when we get back, we'll take a look at that and see. Alrighty, we are now, we just completed our third Pomodoro of 4 Pomodoros today. So we've been working for about an hour and a half on styling this up, the WebNative app template. We'll take a 5-minute break, 25-minute Pomodoro, and we'll call today a wrap. So see you guys in 5. Hey, welcome back to Coding with Jess. We're about to kick off Pomodoro number 4 of our 4 Pomodoro work session. So we're in our last 30 minutes of working on WebNative app template today. So let's go ahead and jump back in, starting our last timer. Here we go. All right, so we've been styling up the WebNative app template using Tailwind, Daisy UI, and what we were just doing was starting to get the font family working, or the fonts working. We grabbed the local font and installed it locally, or we grabbed this PT Serif font and installed it locally, but it's only supposed to apply to our headings. And what I was curious about was whether there was a way to, at the theme level, say for these headings, use this font instead of having to do it manually. Having to do it manually at the level of each individual element. So far, I was not finding anything as we were poking around in here that would let me customize it at the theme level. And this is sort of a consistent theme of this podcast of this live stream so far, is that it's not entirely clear how you go about customizing the theme. And certainly I'm not familiar yet with all of these different Tailwind and Daisy UI configuration possibilities, and there's not really a great reference right now. Let's see. I see that there's font family here. Font family. You can see. That gives you the font family properties, but that specifies it across the entire application. And what we really want is just to say font family for these headings. So, gosh, I'm gonna spend like another minute or two looking around to see if there's a way to do it. I think typography, they recommend the typography plugin, which we already talked about, has some problems where it's meant for prose type content, not for UI elements. And so anyway, I'm going to leave that one. I don't think there's any answers here in the layout and typography for the way that Daisy UI works. It's going to have to be at this Tailwind level. Let's do a real quick search. Maybe there's some sort of Tailwind plugin system or something that would allow us to I think I've already seen this page. Here's the font family page. You can override font sans, font serif, and font mono. And it's interesting. What if we said, is there a way to say for all headings use font serif? That would be an interesting thing. These are sort of default configurations for, yeah, exactly. By default, it provides a sans serif, a serif, and a monospaced one. What we're really interested in, though, theme customization. Using a font that contains an invalid identifier. Nope. Arbitrary values. Yep. I'm customizing the default font. There's the sans. Adding a custom base style. Yeah. See, they really don't cover it here of, I want to actually set the font on a per. It's kind of surprising. There must be something wrong in my mental model still with Tailwind, because I would expect to be able to say these kind of items get this kind of thing, but maybe that's sort of antithetical to the Tailwind way of, yeah. All right, we will do it this way then. Come over to connect, MB5 text ML, and it will be font serif. Actually, font serif might just do what we want without That looks right. The UI serif font must be the built-in. I think I went to some trouble to download that font when I didn't need to. So it looks like UI serif. If I just say font serif on those items, I'm going to get the right font, which is sort of a built-in thing. And where that font is pulling from, I'm not exactly sure. I guess it is a systems level, or sorry, system level font that is available. And yeah, maybe I don't need the PT serif thing. Let me jump over to iTerm, do a diff here, and let's remove that static PT sans regular, and then let's go over to globals and remove this font family definition, and let's just go with font serif. That seems to actually produce the right font. Pretty cool. Okay, so now let's go take a look, a critical eye at our modal thing is looking pretty good. There's a little bit more padding on top and bottom of the H1. He doesn't actually follow exact spacing. He's got kind of exact spacing above and below this, and then yeah, 32 up here, 32 here, and then 32 in the middle. I mean, it's not really 32 because the font, the box around the font is a little taller. And then he has a smaller spacing in between the two buttons. So the div modal box could have a little bit more padding around it, I guess. It's really the more padding underneath this H3. So we could give this like 7 or so, but I still see more padding around the edges of this than we're getting by default. So let me see if that's something we can customize. Rounded box, rounded badge, tab radius. Well, let's do what we've been doing. So we'll right click in here, go to modal box. We'll scroll through here. I would assume that's going to be our padding, which looks like it's 24. And padding here is 32. So let's see where the padding is coming from. Padding is defined at the Daisy UI level, and there's no variable that it's referring to that we can customize. So we're getting a 1.5 rem padding. If we bump that up to say 2 rem, scroll it down a little bit. Yeah, now you're getting closer to, let's go back up to computing. Yeah, so what we really need is like a 2 rem padding. If I could just add a, just going to add kind of a note for ourselves of like, here's some things we'd like to be able to change. And then if I can figure out how to override Daisy UI's default theme beyond this customization, then we might make the change. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it alone just because it's maybe probably not worth it. Okay, this looks pretty good. So now we go click create a new account, and we are now on the next modal. So let's swap screens, come over to here. Here's choose username. This should take considerably less time because we should be able to steal some of the stuff from connect to app and just kind of copy it straight over. So connect, register, let's see. So we're going to want to grab that modal line and replace that one. That gets us our right height. Come grab the href at the top that closes things. Do we get it? Did we still get a close? We do. Cool. All right, so let's grab it from connect and bring it in here. There we go. There's our close button. Now we need to get the H3 sized up correctly, so let's do that. Copy that and paste there. Choose a username. There, that's now styled up appropriately. And then we need our buttons. The buttons are pushed to the bottom, but we should be able to pretty quickly get these going. So this is gonna be a button primary as well, but a button outline style. Right, that's correct. And then so far we've just been using margin bottom to kind of style things up. So we'll margin bottom 5 this, which will push those guys down. And then, let's see. Our width on this guy, the input, we've been doing 11/12. That's what we did over here. Max width doesn't make sense because we're not going to need that. The input bordered looks good. You haven't typed anything in, so the button should be disabled by default. Oh, wait, that's not it. You do it like this. Oh, interesting. The disabled style is kind of funky. Huh. Well, we may need to do something there. Oh, weird. The outline select there. Okay, looking good. We now have, yeah, the styling's coming together much faster now that we've kind of got some of these default styles in. So we need to throw in a this is a shared computer thing. So that's going to actually be a checkbox, which we can grab from up there. No need for an ID on this one. It's not checked by default. And then the class is, I'll just paste it in. Interesting. So we need it to break. I guess this could be display block. That'll knock that one down. And then the margin bottom could be on the bottom of this one. Margin bottom 5. We need a label for this. Where could I get said label without having to go very far? Let's see. These have labels, so let me grab one of those. And we're going to need to give this guy an ID in order to have the label attached to it. The ID will be, let's see, shared computer, I guess. And then I'm going to paste this label in, and the label is for shared computer. This is not a modal button. It's not a button at all. It is, let's come back over here. Oops. And the text that's in there is this is a shared computer. This is a shared computer. All right, that's looking pretty good. We will snug it up to the bottom a little bit. Also, let's do class input bordered. No, doesn't feel right. Should be like something outline. No, that's not right either. So we want to change this color. And we also need a radius on it too. I don't know that you get nice radiuses and stuff on checkbox elements. In fact, maybe this shouldn't be a checkbox. Maybe it should be a fake checkbox, like a button. No, because we do want the label to work. I don't know. I'm kind of torn here. We do want the label to work as you click it, but if I remember correctly, like checkboxes are a total pain and inconsistent in their ability to be styled. Um, border radius. Border radius. There we go. Yeah, you don't get any of this. Mm-mm. Yeah, I think we're going to probably want to make this into a button in order to get to recreate this little style here. And then, yeah, but then we have to handle like a checked. Yeah, no, it needs to probably be a checkbox. Styling checkboxes, HTML. Let me see if they have anything on the Tailwind. Let's see. So we can use. Here's our checkbox HTML. Yeah, native checkboxes just suck. Gain the same colors provided in the layout. Wait, what? How are they providing that? Custom checkbox style. All right. So, uh-huh. So what they're going to do is they're going to totally hide it, hide the native checkbox input. Yeah, I thought this is where we were going. All right. So, uh, yeah. And this is, if we want the checkbox to look right, to look consistent, we'll have to do something like this. So just a real quick, in case you weren't following along, I had a feeling that's kind of where this was going, but the only way to like to override the style of a checkbox, which we may or may not want to do, I'll actually talk to Ryan about how he'd like us to handle this, but is to actually hide the native element entirely. So you come inside here to this set appearance none. That hides the native one, and then you basically just start defining some other stuff, right? So the width, 20 pixels, height, 20 pixels, border, 1 pixel, solid, you know, blue, whatever. Not sure why it didn't. There we go. See where this is going? So you can actually, we can do border radiuses, we can do all the things, and get this thing to be styled up the way that we want. I don't know. Let's see how far we can get doing that in pure Tailwind. And yeah, there's appearance none. There's width 4, height 4. How about border 1? What are all these border? Good grief. I thought B1 would do it, but I don't remember how that works. Apparently not. Okay, so because border top. Oh, you just say border. Oh, there you go. Okay, and then border color would be primary. We're getting somewhere. Radius. Oh, sorry, border radius. There we go. Border radius R2. I know that's adding a right border. So we actually want to say radius. I'm missing. What is the radius thing? Is it rounded? There we go. Rounded medium. Man, it's looking pretty good. So going over to our Figma, right? There's what we're targeting. So now we just need it to be a little bigger, like maybe 5 and 5. That's pretty good. And I think we want text left. So the overall box is text center, so we want to push things over to the left. Let's see. And then we need this the label to go to the right alongside it. Why is it pushing the label down? Let's see here. Checkbox. Oh, because it's got that giant margin bottom on it. Let's kill the margin bottom for now. There we go. We'll throw the margin bottom on the label, and hopefully that won't. It might do the same thing. Oh, interesting. All right, so we might throw a margin top on. Top 5. Oops, forgot the quotes on that guy. There we go. And I don't know why it's not letting me force it to the left, though. Maybe I need a div class equals text left. Wrap these two styles in their own div. Hey, looking pretty good. Okay, so then a couple of things to tweak. Let's snug it up a little bit more. Bottom here. And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, we got to nail the font, the label spacing. So margin left, maybe 3. No, too much. There we go. But now we've got the problem of the line height. So we can either reduce the line height of the label or increase the line height for the input. Matching up buttons with text is always annoying. I wonder what the line height abbreviation is. Let's jump over here to Tailwind and find out. Line height. There we go. Leading. Yes, would never have guessed that. Glad I went and looked it up. All right. Leading 3 or 4 or something. Oh, interesting. So that's not right, because it's the line height of the maybe we can just margin top it. No. And padding top would be inside the All right, kind of wanting to just poke at this thing directly, as opposed to messing with it in Tailwind, and we can come back and figure out what the style is in Tailwind. So text left. This label is by default getting some margin on the side. Ah, we're almost done with our two things. All right, let's give ourselves 5 more minutes. Let's finish off this sizing here. And then we can check in and be a nice set of work here. So the width 5, height 5. There's something about this line height that is... Wow. What if I set line height to 20 pixels? Okay, so it's not line height. That is the answer. All right, you know what? This is probably good enough, and I think we're going to leave it here. I am going to do one other thing, which is text small. And also probably, I think the text was also gray there. Let's see. Yeah, neutral 700. Cool. It's looking pretty good, y'all. Pretty good. All right, so at this point we have, let's go ahead and do a check-in. I'll open a branch here. Styles. What is the... Let's add the source, add Tailwind. Styles from the Figmas. All right, get push origin, styles. Ah, all right. Well, thanks for hanging out for Coding with Jess. We have now wrapped up our 4th Pomodoro of this coding session. And the goal again today was to work on the WebNative app template and to get that styled up appropriately. As soon as we can get the WebNative app template to the point where we understand it and we can kind of release it, I'll be moving Mumbler over to the WebNative app template as well, which will allow us to use sort of a different auth flow. So super fun hanging out with you. It was nice departure from like TypeScript world to work on Tailwind and Daisy UI, which I find to be delightful little projects for styling up products. So anyway, hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday and might see you next week.